Have you ever wondered why you just don't feel like being around people as much anymore? You're not alone, and no, you're not turning into a grump. In fact, there are 5 powerful psychological reasons why you might start avoiding others as you age. And guess what? It's completely normal, and even healthy in some cases. Stay with us, because reason number 3 might just surprise you the most. Before we dive in, hit subscribe for more insights on aging wisely, like this video, and share it with someone who might relate. And tell us in the comments, have you felt this shift? Reason 1, your priorities naturally shift toward peace, not people. As we age, it's natural for our priorities to shift. In our younger years, we often chase after social approval, maintain busy schedules, and strive to surround ourselves with large friend groups. These things can feel important when we're trying to figure out who we are or fit in with others. But as the years pass, we begin to value something much deeper, peace of mind. It's not that we dislike people or become antisocial, rather we realize that constant chatter, noise, and superficial connections may no longer be worth our energy. Instead, we yearn for calm, quiet, and meaningful interactions. This shift in priorities is not just a personal feeling, it's supported by research. As we grow older, we naturally become more selective about how we spend our time and with whom. This concept is explained by something called socio-emotional selectivity theory, which suggests that as we age, we focus less on quantity and more on the quality of our relationships. We no longer feel the need to constantly fill our social calendars with events or maintain a wide circle of acquaintances. Instead, we start seeking out connections that nourish us and bring us true joy. Our time becomes precious, and we want to invest it in ways that align with our evolving emotional needs. You may notice that you find more joy in solitude, in nature, or in activities like reading, knitting, or working on hobbies that bring you inner peace. The idea of attending crowded events or participating in big social gatherings might feel draining rather than exciting. You may prefer to spend time with a close loved one, share a quiet conversation, or enjoy the stillness of your own thoughts. This is a natural response to the wisdom that aging brings. You've learned that peace and contentment are far more fulfilling than trying to keep up with the noise of the world. If you've experienced this shift in priorities, it's important to understand that it's not a sign of depression, isolation, or withdrawal. Rather, it's an indication of your evolving emotional needs. As you grow older, you become more in tune with what truly matters to you. Aging often brings wisdom, and that wisdom guides you to spend your time where it truly matters, whether it's with people who make you feel safe, engaged, and appreciated, or in solitary moments that allow for reflection and relaxation. Perhaps for the first time, you may find yourself stepping away from the crowd. You might choose a quiet afternoon at home over a bustling social event, or you might prioritize a heart-to-heart with a close friend over a large group gathering. This isn't a rejection of people, it's a recognition of the value of peace. You've come to understand that time is limited, and your energy is precious. So why waste it on things that don't bring fulfillment? The beauty of aging lies in the ability to embrace this shift. You no longer feel compelled to please everyone or keep up with a busy, noisy world. Instead, you've learned the value of peace and solitude, and you've discovered that fewer, deeper connections bring much more joy than a crowded calendar. If you've started pulling back from the social hustle, embrace it. It's a sign that you've found the wisdom to prioritize what truly matters, your peace. And that is one of the most empowering gifts of aging. Reason 2, social fatigue becomes real, and your energy is limited. There was a time when you could work all day, attend a lively party, and still have the energy to chat with neighbors into the evening. Your stamina seemed endless and socializing felt like a breeze. However, as we age, something changes. That once boundless energy for social interactions becomes more limited, and that's okay. What many people fail to realize is that social fatigue is a very real experience for older adults. The simple act of engaging in conversations, being around noise, or navigating group settings starts to require emotional energy, and unlike physical fatigue, social fatigue can feel invisible, yet just as draining. Your brain becomes more selective about where it directs its energy. In your younger years, you might have easily handled multiple conversations, empathized with others, and recalled memories effortlessly. But now, all of those tasks take more mental effort. Listening attentively, connecting emotionally, and recalling details for a conversation all require more cognitive resources than they once did. After just a few hours of socializing or visiting with others, you may find yourself feeling completely wiped out, almost as if you've run a marathon, even though the activity was purely social. And that's not an indication of being antisocial or rude, it's simply your body and mind telling you it needs rest. There's no shame in acknowledging this change. Just as physical fatigue signals to us that our bodies need rest after exertion, social fatigue serves as a reminder that our emotional and mental energy has limits too. You may find that the long, energy-draining social events that once seemed enjoyable now feel overwhelming. The loud environments, the constant chatter, and the need to keep up with conversations might leave you feeling depleted. It's not that you no longer enjoy socializing, it's that the toll it takes on your energy has become more pronounced. Setting boundaries around social engagements is not only okay, but it's also an essential part of self-care. Saying no to gatherings or choosing to leave early from a social event is not rude or dismissive, it's wise and respectful of your own well-being. By acknowledging your limits and taking proactive steps to preserve your energy, you are prioritizing your mental and emotional health. Seniors who honor their energy levels tend to feel happier and more balanced. They're able to enjoy the social interactions they do have without feeling overextended or depleted. Learning to say no or shortening your visits doesn't mean you're withdrawing from life or becoming antisocial. In fact, it's a sign of emotional maturity and self-awareness. You've recognized that socializing can be energizing, but it also requires balance. If you've been turning down invitations or feeling more tired after social events, don't feel guilty about it. You're not being difficult or unfriendly. You're simply honoring the finite energy you have. The ability to say no, to set limits, and to listen to your body's needs is a skill that brings peace and freedom. In a world that often expects constant engagement, there's something empowering about choosing rest over excess. You're no longer driven by the need to prove anything or to meet external expectations. Instead, you've reached a place where you can embrace your need for quiet and solitude without guilt. And that is something to be proud of, not ashamed of. You've earned the right to rest, recharge, and only engage in the social interactions that truly nurture your soul. Reason 3. You've outgrown drama and small talk. When we're younger, we often tolerate things that drain us just to stay connected. We engage in gossip, participate in disagreements, and get caught up in surface-level conversations because we think it's necessary to fit in or maintain relationships. But as we grow older, something shifts. We begin to notice that we have less patience for drama, and the tolerance for engaging in arguments, office politics, or fake friendliness starts to fade. The thought of getting involved in these trivial matters suddenly feels exhausting, and frankly, unnecessary. This shift isn't a sign that you're becoming grumpy or withdrawn, rather it's a reflection of emotional growth. You've developed a sharper emotional filter, one that helps you prioritize what truly matters. The need to entertain toxic dynamics or engage in conversations that don't bring value to your life begins to disappear. You realize that authenticity holds much more weight than pretenses or empty pleasantries. And while small talk once served as a social tool, it starts to feel pointless. The simple exchange of pleasantries doesn't stimulate you the way it once did. Instead, you long for deeper, more meaningful connections. Arguments, once perhaps a way of asserting yourself or proving a point, now seem like a waste of time. You realize that peace of mind, simplicity, and harmony are far more rewarding than being in the loop or winning an argument. As a result, you might start stepping away from situations that feel unnecessarily contentious or draining. This newfound preference for calmness and clarity is not about avoiding conflict altogether, it's about knowing when to choose your battles, and when to walk away from ones that aren't worth fighting. Over the years, you've likely learned that people, for the most part, don't change easily. Once you recognize toxic patterns in relationships, you stop wasting energy trying to fix them. Instead of trying to change someone who repeatedly disappoints you, you learn to choose your peace by stepping away. You understand that distancing yourself from negativity isn't a sign of bitterness or resentment. It's about protecting your emotional space and well-being. It's healthier to disengage from relationships that are consistently draining or toxic than to keep pouring energy into something that isn't reciprocated. This choice may lead you to spend more time in solitude, but it's not the kind of loneliness that's tied to sadness or isolation. It's the kind of solitude that fosters personal growth and peace. You choose meaningful solitude over the chaos of shallow interactions, and that's a form of self-care. You may find yourself withdrawing from groups or conversations that no longer resonate with you, not out of frustration, but because you've finally come to understand the importance of emotional boundaries. If you've noticed that you're walking away from drama-filled conversations or choosing quiet moments over shallow company, take pride in that decision. It's a sign of emotional maturity, not isolation. You've learned the value of inner peace, and you've made the conscious choice to protect it. You're no longer living to please others. Instead, you're embracing the gift of living authentically, guided by your own values, rather than the expectations of those around you. Choosing peace over drama, simplicity over clutter, and authenticity over pretense is one of the most empowering aspects of aging. And it's one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Reason 4, you're more comfortable being your true self. As we grow older, one of the most liberating experiences is the gradual disappearance of the need to impress others. It's as if, over time, the pressure to perform, compete, or pretend slowly fades away. With age comes a deep sense of self-awareness, and that self-awareness allows us to step into our authenticity without apology. We no longer feel compelled to fit into molds that don't align with who we truly are. Over the years, we accumulate experiences that help us clarify what really matters. Through trial and error, we've learned to identify what's truly important to us, and perhaps more importantly, who is important in our lives. We've been through enough ups and downs to know that genuine relationships are built on honesty and mutual respect. With this wisdom, we've also learned to let go of fake friends, one-sided relationships, and environments that feel inauthentic or draining. There's a certain peace in no longer feeling the need to please everyone or say yes out of guilt. We've learned the power of no, and we use it with confidence. In this new chapter, we become more comfortable speaking our truth, no longer holding back for fear of judgment. We realize that our opinions, feelings, and boundaries are just as valid as anyone else's. This newfound self-expression can lead to some changes in our social circles. We might find that the friendships we once had no longer feel like a good fit. It's not that we dislike people, but rather that we now prefer to surround ourselves with individuals who accept us for who we truly are. We no longer feel the need to conform to the expectations of others. If we only have a handful of meaningful connections, we're okay with that. Quality always trumps quantity. This deeper self-acceptance can also lead to spending more time alone, but it's important to understand that this isn't a sign of loneliness. It's a reflection of the comfort and independence we've cultivated within ourselves. We may choose to indulge in personal routines, hobbies, or simply enjoy moments of quiet reflection. What was once seen as isolation now feels like freedom. We no longer need constant external validation because we've learned to find fulfillment from within, and that's something to be proud of. Growing older allows us to shed the layers of pretense that once defined us. We're no longer hiding behind facades or trying to meet unrealistic expectations. Instead, we embrace our true selves, flaws, quirks, and all. We live life on our own terms, free from the pressure to perform for others. In many ways, this is one of the most beautiful aspects of aging, the freedom to be unapologetically ourselves. And if, along the way, we find that certain relationships or social circles no longer align with our true self, we don't mourn their loss. Instead, we celebrate the fact that we've finally arrived at a place where we can be authentic. We're not afraid of who we are. We've become more comfortable, confident, and at peace with ourselves. That is the power of aging, and it's something to be truly grateful for. Reason 5. Life experience teaches you who's worth your time. One of the greatest gifts that come with age is clarity. As the years pass, we accumulate experiences that help us understand people better. We've seen friendships come and go, and we've been supported by some while others have let us down. There are those who stuck by us through thick and thin, and then there are those who disappeared when things got tough. With these experiences, our perspective on relationships evolves. Our inner circle naturally grows smaller, not out of bitterness or coldness, but because we've developed higher standards. Life has a way of teaching us the importance of quality over quantity. With age, you begin to realize that your time is a precious commodity, one that cannot be wasted. You no longer feel the need to bend over backward for people who don't respect your time, energy, or boundaries. You've learned to recognize toxic behaviors like manipulation, gossip, and emotional immaturity from a mile away. The emotional toll of tolerating these traits becomes too great, and you no longer entertain them. This clarity makes you more discerning about who you allow into your life. You've gained the wisdom to know that not every person deserves a place in your circle. It's no longer about fitting in or chasing after friendships that feel one-sided. You've come to understand that true friendships are built on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. If someone consistently drains you or makes you feel less than who you are, you no longer hesitate to let them go. This doesn't make you cold or indifferent, it simply makes you wise. The freedom that comes with aging is liberating. You've learned how to enjoy your own company. Where once you may have felt the pressure to constantly seek out social interactions, now you find joy and contentment in your own thoughts and pursuits. Whether it's enjoying a quiet afternoon with a book, savoring a cup of tea, or exploring a new hobby, you've discovered that solitude doesn't equate to loneliness, it's self-care. Sometimes, people may misinterpret your need for solitude or your decision to distance yourself from certain groups. They might see it as a form of isolation or rejection. However, what they fail to understand is that this is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's a clear indicator that you've stopped chasing after fleeting connections and have become more intentional about who you let into your life. You've learned to protect your peace and energy, and that's a form of empowerment that only age can bring. As you continue on your journey, it's important to remember that pulling back from certain people or situations is not a reflection of bitterness or resentment. It's a reflection of self-respect and the understanding that your time and energy are valuable. You've learned to prioritize your well-being. And that's one of the most beautiful aspects of growing older. It's not loneliness, it's empowerment. And as you move forward, you'll find that the relationships you do maintain will be stronger, more meaningful, and built on a foundation of mutual respect. In the end, aging gives us the clarity to understand who's worth our time. And that understanding is one of the most beautiful gifts life has to offer. Conclusion. So if you've been avoiding people more as you age, now you know, it's not only normal, it's often a sign of growth. You're not becoming antisocial, you're becoming more self-aware, more peaceful, and more selective about who and what deserves your time. Aging isn't about losing connections, it's about deepening the right ones. If this video spoke to you, please like, share, and comment below. Tell us, have your social habits changed with age? And don't forget to subscribe for more honest, empowering content just for you. You deserve to age with confidence, clarity, and peace.